because everybody got in the party mode that we are going back. We are not shooting. So one day I was like, okay, what do I do now? And then I called him at 5 a.m. in the morning. Okay. I said, okay, we have to create this thought in our heads that it's not raining. And I said, it's not raining. I know it's not raining. And he said, but it's going to rain. It's going to rain. We are losing money. I said, no, I'm telling you, it's not raining. I just got to know it's not raining. And he's looking at me like, is she mad?
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Hear the thumbs
Uh,
going up. You know why the thumbs are going up? Welcome to another episode of Boarding Pass. I am your pilot, Denzel Whitaker, joined by...
your co-pilot, Jayden Choi.
That's right, and we are thumbs up, ready to go for another exciting episode. We are chilling in the Inspo Lounge. Look at him. You see how strong his thumbs are looking? Jaden, why are
You
your
see?
thumbs looking so strong? You been working out?
Yeah, that's probably why I went to gym today.
Man, you know, those the incredible thumbs. Wow, you can pick up all the weights with that, huh? You're like Popeye strength.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a baller, if you play basketball, you need that, you know.
Oh, okay. What's your favorite activity in the gym, huh?
I I literally just spoiled it. I love playing basketball when I go to gym as a cardio, just because I love sweating out. You know, sweating out always helps me. Like it improve my skin. It helps me digesting. It helps everything. And I like weightlifting, but once in a while, I love just getting into the yoga room and just like stretching a little bit. You know, it helps me a
Ooh,
lot.
okay.
Yeah.
Interesting you bring up yoga. I think our guest might enjoy that activity. Come on. Run down the check-in.
Yes, sir. Let's get in there. Name. I'm gonna pronounce this very, very accurately.
Yes, you will.
Rukshana Tabassum.
There you go.
Nationality, India. Occupation, filmmaker, painter, and classical dancer. All-round artist. I love that.
Okay.
And the fun fact, a Facebook post she wrote led to the development of one of her most celebrated films.
Hmm. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, the advancements of the internet, connecting people all around the globe. Well,
That's
you
what
know
social
what?
media does.
Let's stay connected right now. Let's bring Rukshana to the stage. Come on into the Inspo Lounge, Rukshana.
Hey, hi.
Welcome.
What's up?
What's up? How are
Hey,
you? I'm good.
How you doing? What's the local time zone over there for our frequent flyers? What's the GMT?
Right now, it's 7:27 a.m.
oh,
7:27 a.m. All
early
right,
in the
all right.
morning. And just so you know, like everybody, she's in India right now, right?
Let me ask you something. Where were you born? Where are you from? Like a small town in India, correct? Is my
Yeah,
intel correct? Tell us
yeah,
about that. What that experience was like for you, and
yeah.
what got you in the arts?
So I was born in this small town called Nagaon in Assam, which is northeast part of India. Okay, and I was born in like a middle class family where my parents both are teachers. So it was almost like you go to school and you come back to another school because your parents are always like either telling you to study or to get up early and all of that. So it was like I mean, like my body would know what time I'm doing what, right? So I was like, oh, I don't like this. Childhood is no fun. But after growing up, I think it was good. It just made me a little disciplined. But while growing up, I think it was like kind of torture. And
What
I
kind
just
what
did
kind of
all.
teachers?
So my father, he teaches history. And my mom, she was in a primary school and she taught children in the Montessori way.
Okay, so a history teacher, and then your mom, you said taught children, right? But where did the arts come from? Where did the love? Do they have a background in arts?
Well, yeah, my mom paints and
Okay.
she is to craft and all of that. But I think it was the environment that I grew up. The entire town was very inclined towards arts. Like every kid in the town would learn something or the other. Like right from the time they were growing up, like either they would be doing music or learning dance or art. So they also put me in like an art school and a dance school. I even tried learning music, but I was too bad at it. And then I was like, I can't do this. And my teacher was like, he was really strict. Okay. So on the days he would come to teach me, I would be so scared. Then I will be like, I hope he doesn't come. I'll keep praying he doesn't come come to teach me. So then there was a point when I told my parents that I can't pursue music, but I really, really want to dance. So that's That's how it came. So the entire love for, I think, arts came from there, from learning painting and dance. And it just became a part of my growing up process.
What pushes you to go into so many different facets of art?
Well, so another fun fact about my childhood probably would be that I was not allowed to watch films. Okay,
Mm.
like watching films was considered like a waste of time in my house. So for them, it was more important that I read a lot of books. So I grew up reading a lot of storybooks. Okay, and I grew up watching a lot of theater. So I understood that I loved telling stories, and we had a lot of power cuts because it was a small town. So we had a lot of power cuts in our town. And during that time, all the children would come out and we would have like a little, storytelling sessions. So everybody would tell some story or the other. And then I realized that, oh, wow, this is something I love to do. But then again, coming from a very academic family, they were like, you have to become an engineer or a doctor or whatever. So
Right.
they put me in like an engineering coaching class. But I didn't enjoy it. And then I said, no, this is not happening. And from that is where it started. And then I went to a school. So then it became like more concrete that, okay, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life.
As you've stepped into your adulthood, as you've, grown within your career, were there any sort of doubts, insecurities, fears, like maybe I made the wrong path, maybe I should turn backwards, were my parents right? What were those doubts and fears for you, and how did you navigate it?
Oh yeah, there were a lot of times I had this fear, especially. So I was working in like a proper company, like Viacom 18. I worked there for almost 4 years, and it gave me a lot of security in terms of getting a salary every month, right? Because otherwise, it's very difficult for an independent artist to kind of, sort of make it in like to live in Bombay because it's an expensive city. But then I was not really happy. It was like, okay, I'm getting this money and everything is all fine, but that the creative satisfaction is not there. And that's the reason I had joined this industry precisely. I'm like, I wanted to become a filmmaker. And then I left it. Okay, without no plans, I just left it.
Mm.
And then what happened? I'm like, God's grace, I got a film. I made Cake Story, like my first, I would say, like my first independent short film after I passed out. I finished my studies from my film institute. And when we made that, right, like it gave me a lot of confidence. And I thought, oh my God, maybe this will sort my life. But no, it was just the beginning. And it was so tough post that because, your film is going to the festivals, nobody's seen your work, right? It's not really generating more work, and the struggle is real. And so there were times when I would be like, oh my God, I wish I was an engineer or a doctor. My life would have been secured. At least I don't have to think where my next paycheck is coming from. How do I, pay my
Maybe my
rent?
parents were right for a little bit.
Absolutely. There were times.
Yeah.
And the thing is, in my school batch, like we have like six or seven doctors and engineers.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
So when they would meet me, my parents would be like, see, I wish she was as secure as you guys. And they were like, no, auntie, she's happier. We are not.
It
So
really
they
is
were,
that grass is always greener thing.
Mm.
yeah.
Everybody wishes they could be a little bit freer, and you're looking for security, and
Yes.
somewhere both are valid, and
Mm.
both
Yeah.
professions are needed. And
True.
the
Absolutely.
interesting thing you talk about, because what's resonant in your work, especially one of the projects that was involved with the IYMS Sanatione project, Note to Self, you had no security. There was an unknown element with the pandemic, which is when you made the project.
So I'll just give you a little pretext to that. So I had gone to US for a program, exchange program in 2020 January, okay? And it was like amazing, to go meet filmmakers and like-minded people. That is when I met Evelyn as well. And I just thought probably this was like a milestone, and it would just open up things for me, right? And then you come back to your country, and then you have been obviously like we heard how things were all over across the world, and you come back and you have these big ideas, and you have these bigger dreams now, and which you want to implement once you come back, and then COVID hits. And you were like, oh my God, what just happened? And it almost like there was a saying, like, someone has told me that when happiness is in the room, sadness is standing at the door. And I was like, oh my God, now this is too much uncertainty, right?
It's very funny actually. Like, I was just thinking about it. Like, I'm sitting here right now. We are still in the middle of the pandemic. In fact, things are worse right now than what it was back then. But when I think of the way I was at that time, sitting at that time and space, thinking about the future, I used to be petrified. I thought life was ending. So I've decided to take one day at a time. Perhaps that's the best way to be.
So initially, it was like I really didn't think it would be like I thought maximum it would take probably a month for things to get all right. First, I thought it's 15 days, because initially the government put a lockdown only for a shorter period, right?
Yeah. Oh, we all thought that.
Yeah, I was like not that scared initially, and my mom and dad were here because they were visiting since I had come back from the US and they wanted to see me. So I said, whatever it is, I had the small camera I bought when I had gone to US to document my entire journey there. So I said, okay, let me just document this as well, and I started documenting everything. Okay, like my mom and dad, my neighbors, and the colony that I stay in, my life randomly. I was like, I will just document without any agenda. And then I was doing it, and then suddenly, like things started getting worse, and news from all across the world was coming where situation was getting worse. I was like, oh, this is big. And then I was going through a lot emotionally because for me, I was like, my profession is such that you cannot sit at home and do anything, right? You have to go out there if you have a story to make it. And then a lot of news started coming in, where people who are lawyers and like in very good professions, they started doing stuff to just to survive. So I was like, oh my god, like now it's only because it's about survival, it's not about art anymore. Okay, like what do I do? And so while doing this entire process, I wanted to stay very true to what I was going through. So even if it was fear, anxiety, everything I documented, okay? And that is when Evelyn got in touch with us because I had met her in US. And then she said, okay, like, we all are going through something very intense. We all are in different parts of the world. Let's just like, meet online and just like talk about like, like share our experiences. And that one meeting gave me a lot of perspective, and because it was like, okay, I was not in this alone. There are a lot of artists, like dancers, musicians, and so many people all across. They were going through something similar. And so that is when she said, okay, document everything. And, like you find how we can tell this story to the world. And so what I thought was like, I didn't change the way I was shooting. I'll just make it very raw, the way it is. Because for me, it was almost like getting closer to a truth that I was trying to kind of probably like life was trying to make me understand. I felt my creativity went up like crazy because that is all I was doing. I was sitting and just like, I was cooking, I was doing, I was making, I was like making like the art with everything that was on my way. Whatever's coming my way, make art. Like in the kitchen, you're cooking all the time, you make art there.
I made this today with my morning fruit, the apple family. So exciting how much one can do with art. Check this out. So basically, this is a couple in Shikara in Kashmir. This is my house in the woods on a moonlit night. And the moon is pink. This is what I made right now. Her name is Bella.
Talk to us because like with what we do here at Boarding Pass, we focus on not just your artistic journey but also your impact journey. And sometimes for some people those are separate. Sometimes like their artistic journey led them to their impact journey, but for you it seems like they're kind of one and the same. Is that true?
Yeah, you can say that in a way, but honestly, when I was making art during pandemic, it was just for my mental health, I would say. I was not thinking I'm making great art at all because I didn't have that perspective at that time at all. For me, it was just like, okay, I am just doing it, whatever I'm feeling right now, because initially there was a lot of stuff that was also just to heal, a lot of things that came out was for healing. I mean, like it was, I think, see, that is where a amazing producer comes on board and says, okay, I see this thing, your story can probably interest a lot of others. It could probably bring in a lot of positivity. That is what Evelyn came in. I did not see any merit in my story. Had it been she was not there, those would have been just rushes lying around in some hard drive. Honestly, I was doing it for my well. But when after that meeting, like I said, there was like a perspective that okay, I can make something, and it was insane because when I posted small parts of whatever art I was making, I was doing that every day, right? Because social media became the only meeting place where you could share things with others, right? And there were so many people, they wrote saying that, oh my God, this is so inspired. And I was getting inspired by a lot of people who were doing a lot of things, sitting and some picked up baking, someone was doing pottery. So it was like a very, very beautiful, I think everybody was trying to lift each other up. So for my impact journey, I would say, okay, I love working with children and I love simple stories. The need is very, very simple. It's not that you want to kind of, like win the whole world, but it's just a small thing that they are trying to. So then I started making children film. And that's when I think, again, it's like you said, one Facebook post, someone got in touch with me and they said, okay, you make children film. Why don't you make a film on overcoming differences? Like that is what the entire world was, like polarized and everything. But I said, how do you do that? I don't know. So then I said, I can't make it you know and they said, no, you try. And then I said, oh my God, why are these producers after my life? It's so difficult. How can you actually overcome differences? So I said, okay, fine, like, let me just kind of give it a try. And I think that film became like something very, very personal. And again, like that impact also just happened because I was trying to find truth for myself, because I did not know how to do it.
What's the title of this film?
It's called Apples and Oranges. There was a time when I think our country was very, very polarized. We had a change of government and everybody was putting their opinions. They didn't like certain things about the present government and they were kind of always arguing. So was I. I was putting in all whatever I was feeling out there.
That happens, yeah.
And then obviously, like, like you're coming across news articles and incidents that are happening which disturb you. There were like a lot of killings and communal disharmony and all of that, right? And then I was putting my stuff, and then that's when the producer saw my post and she said, okay, if you're feeling so strongly about it as a filmmaker, we should do something about it.
It's very, very well made. It's very creative in a way you kind of talk about these political things, not in a sensitive way, in a very artistic way. And on top of that, it has amazing colors. And that's when I noticed when I was reading your bio, you said you also do paintings. I was like, that clicks. That's exactly why this film has such great color. Did your painting background help a lot when you're making this film?
Yeah. So, like personally, I like a lot of colors. I like it to be vibrant. And when you make like for films for children and you're trying to talk about something which is slightly on the darker side, we wanted to kind of keep it very, very light.
Listen to this. An apple eater family dies due to overeating of apples.
Such a greedy
Yeah,
race, apple eaters. It's in their genes.
These guys are buffoons.
Hi, Tulip. I'm so sorry I was late yesterday. Hope you're not upset with me. Are we meeting today?
I'm curious though, what has been your experience working with children? Because, like you just pointed out, that is a theme throughout your work. And correct me if I'm wrong, outside of Dami, is that how you pronounce that?
Yeah, Dami. Yeah.
Okay, so outside of that project, would you say like this is the youngest set of lead characters? I'm curious though, what has been your experience working with children? Because, like you just pointed out, that is a theme throughout your work. And correct me if I'm wrong, outside of Dami, is that how you pronounce that?
Yeah, Dami. Yeah.
Okay, so outside of that project, would you say like this is the youngest set of lead characters you've worked with in Apples and Oranges?
No, my youngest character was 6 years old, and for the cake story. Yeah, he was, I think, 5 or 6.
How do you approach pulling emotions out of your young performers? I know that's such a special skill set, something that Spielberg talks about all the time. What has been your personal approach as a writer, as a filmmaker, as a creative, working with younger children?
So I think the process starts with the casting itself. So I usually would never give them a scene, like when they come for an audition, I would just give them a situation because I feel children are amazing actors, as like they don't really need, because they don't really have much inhibition, right? And if you're coming willingly for an audition, they would want to do it unless the parents are like dragging them, which is also a case in India a lot of times. Like they want their kids to be famous. They're like,
That's
Yeah.
let's
not that's
Sta-
not so nice.
they're like,
stage
oh
parents.
no.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
very real thing.
When my audition started, I had a lot of parents coming in with their kids, and the kids would come and just say the lines the way the parents have taught them. And they would not talk like that, right? So they would sound like their mother or their father. And I'm like, I said, this is not happening. So I sat down. I was like, what do I do? Then I said, forget all of this. And I just called the kid and I said, forget all of that and pick up something like a little bit of the character. And I said, okay, this is your situation, and I'm playing your mother and he's playing your father, and let's just have fun. And you won't believe, I mean, 80% of the kids do so well. And I sent the parents, the actor who acted in my film. And he was already very free, by the time, because he understood this. Nobody is like being a teacher to him, there is so much freedom. And then we would sit and talk, I would ask him rather than telling him, I know, what would you do? And a lot of things that I got out of these auditions and the workshops, I have actually put those things in my script. So I molded the character, keeping in mind that my actor has these characteristics and these are the things. I observed him and I put it that. So it was lovely working with this kid. But of course, it comes with their own little challenges. Like I remember, I can share this with you. So the same kid, he was doing so well on the third day. Suddenly, he was unable to give a very, very simple shot. Okay. All he had to do was just like pick a marble and look at it. And he was just not giving. And we wanted to get that shot in magic light. Okay. And the light is going, and the cinematographer said, what is this? Direct him, direct him. I said, he's not doing, what do I do? Then I said, okay, wait. So I said, come, let's go for a walk. And then my cinematographer is going nuts. Okay, going for a walk, light is going. I said, no, no, this is needed. So then we take a short walk, and I said, what happened? You don't want to act anymore. I don't want to do anything. Are you tired? She said, no, I'm not tired. I was like, did anyone say anything to you? I was like, no. Then I said, okay, are you hungry? He's like, yes, I'm hungry. I was like, oh, I said, why didn't you tell? He was like, no, everybody's so busy. Who do I tell? And we had just had lunch like an hour back, okay? But he was a small kid and he was hungry and he didn't tell us. I said, what do you want to eat? And there was KFC right there. He said, KFC. And he told me the name of the burger. So we got him that thing and he gave the shot in like 2 minutes.
That's so relatable.
Shout out KFC. We need
Shout
that
out
sponsorship. That's what that sounds like. It's so true though. It really is. I can truthfully say, even with my background breaking into the industry, it's like when you're that age, all you're concerned about is going back to school, telling your friends like the project you were involved in, where are the free Oreos, where's Crafty.
So that film, we actually wanted to experiment. We wanted to kind of see how we can bring in a bit of a docu style with a fiction. How we can marry the both. And so we decided we will only shoot in real locations, and our locations were like hospitals, which are civil hospitals. Like public spaces, and there were markets, and there was this one village where we shot. So it was very difficult to kind of do crowd control also, right? So I think again here it was like collaboration that kind of got this film made, because it was a very key decision what camera to use, because we cannot be seen with a big camera. We needed the character to move through like really crowded spaces. I said, how do you get it? So then that's when my actor came in, and so we were brainstorming on how to shoot this film. We wrote the film without thinking how we will shoot it. We were like, okay, let's not like, put limitations and say we will not write this because we don't have the resources. So we rather said we write it and we'll see how to figure it out, how to shoot it. So that's when my actor came in, and we were in that village, and we had taken permission for the spaces. And I said, okay, what do we do? And he said, okay, let's just get my costume. So he wore the character's costume. And he said, I would want to explore the space the way my character is exploring in the film. Okay. So then he went and we were just following. So we all bought clothes from the local shop so that we look like locals. And so that, you're not really drawing any more attention. And then what happened was, While filming this, we realized that we have to just be invisible, be there and be invisible. So our camera person, she would stand with the camera, and after some point, the even the public would get bored. They are like, nothing is happening, it's just who's standing. So they stop looking into the camera. So you stand. So my character would keep coming and keep doing the scene like 10, 15 times. Yeah, and we used a lot of local actors as well, to kind of because we were a small crew who traveled. We didn't have the money to travel from Bombay to Madhya Pradesh. That's like a little far. So we took local actors, and then we kind of, the costumes were from the local space shops. And so this is how we got it done. And yeah, working with that grown-up actor was also amazing because he brought in his own thought process, right? So it was for the first time, like I'm getting ideas from the actor as well. And we all are brainstorming. So yeah, it was an amazing collaboration that way. And our producer was on set. Can you believe it? He just gave us the money and said, just go make the film. So, and they said, just send me the final cut. That has
That's
never
great.
happened in my life.
Yeah, no, that's pretty rare. I gotta
Yeah.
admit. Yeah, you
So he
you
had
could
like
do
so
whatever you want at that point.
Ultimate freedom.
Exactly. What do you think, looking back upon all of your films, right? Whether it be Note to Self, Apples and Oranges, Finding Nabi, any of them, what do you think has been your biggest takeaway as an artist?
See, I think I've always been making films on a very shoestring budget. Okay, so people come on board only when they like it, when they see that okay, there is something that I would like to be a part of. So there is in this entire process, there's a lot of love and trust. It's very important to make a film with a lot of love. Even on set, I feel when people are screaming and all of that, and because obviously you have like a certain amount of time on set and everybody is getting so hyper. So I always say we are not on war. I think that is the love that I've gotten, while in the being in the process to make a film, or whenever they have gone to festivals and there are children who write to me or the producers write to me saying that it resonated with you, like Apples and Oranges. I got so many children from US writing to me saying that they could relate to it because they were also seeing a lot of polarity at that point, right? So it just makes you feel that okay, fine, there was an intention with what the film was made, and it's perhaps reaching. Understood over the years that alone I can't change the world, but I can only take care of the way I am thinking. If I am thinking a certain way, I will, as it is, you will attract people who think similarly, and you would eventually the world would become a better place, but earlier, like, when I was 20s, I was like, I will change the world. I was really angry, and why is this happening? Why is not that happening? Why are people like that? So I've calmed down, I think, now. Yeah, so it's become like more focus. So I think, yeah, that has been probably my takeaway.
Mm.
And you say your artistic journey and your impact journey aren't one and the same. Sounds like you're doing the work. That's that.
Eventually, I think is becoming the same. I would say the impact part of it has just become a part of my life.
As we talk about your films in general, like you're very great at pointing out something that is very universally relatable. I was watching another film, Finding Nabi. It's also very, very relatable universally because it's talking about this current era of social media. And I kind of want to hear your kind of point of view on this film specifically, because this generation, it's all about social media.
So Finding Nabi is also a film that I made for the same producer as Apples and Oranges. They got in touch with me saying that, okay, like we want to make like two films, and this is social media. Like I was reflecting a lot on how our relationships have changed, or like how social media has impacted us, over the last couple of like last decade, right? So when this came, and so it was for me like very easy to take a decision that I wanted to say the story, and how to take a story, how to tell a story from a kind of an emotional point of view that it would make a impact on the young minds. And then I wanted to club it with like there's a character in the film which is a classical dancer. It's a male classical dancer, and because I have seen them getting bullied, being a classical dancer myself, I've seen a lot of my male classical dancers getting bullied because they portray feminine characters, right? Then I was like, okay, let's marry both of it. you know. And so that is how it came. And the funny thing is, I have to tell you this. So while making this film, I was spending a lot of time on social media, and I became an addict. I was like, see what is like the trending reels, what are the insights, what is happening. And suddenly I find myself reaching for the phone every few minutes. And I'm like, what is happening to me? It is real. Then I was like, oh my God, now I have to really control myself, right? So that is how it was.
You had to know what you're talking about, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And then I was
Mm.
like, I mean, I have to first, control my addiction, then tell the story.
Oh, apples and oranges and Dami and Finding Nabi, they all have very, very different styles. It makes me curious on what your next filmography is gonna be.
Yeah, so right now we are working on a feature film, which is an Assamese feature film, which is like my mother tongue. I come from Assam, so Assamese feature film. It's again with children, and it's got to do with like right now a lot of forests are getting cut in the name of development, all over, right? And it's so important to save them because I think otherwise, I mean, like, we won't survive if we destroy nature. So this is like a very, very light, interesting, fantastical take on this issue, and it's based in a small village in Assam. So that is something I'm working on, but that would happen probably end of this year. And I'm also trying to like now kind of develop this one series. So there's a psychological thriller that I'm working on as well. So yeah, these are two things.
Lot of stuff to be excited about. You know what? Before you get out of here, though, we are a show about traveling and experiences, right? Share a travel story with us and maybe something that inspired you along the way. Yeah, stumper, huh?
uh, So this is again related to a shoot, okay? And so we were traveling to Kerala for a shoot. It was like we were trekking at three, four places, okay? And it was like monsoons. So we knew it would be monsoons, but someone had told us that it will get over, okay? But that it did not. And we were traveling, and it was like raining cats and dogs. And so we were like, should we cancel the shoot? Because there was a lot of money already that was pumped in, because for our travels and stuff. And then I had this assistant director, okay, and he was very, very negative about this entire thing. And he was every day he will come and he was like, I think we should just cancel this shoot. This is not happening. And there's so much money is just going to go for a waste and all of that. And every day he would sit next to me in the car and he was saying the same thing, okay. And then one day I was like, my God, now everybody in the crew started saying the same thing. Yo, it's not happening. Shoot is not happening. Shoot is not happening. It's going to rain and all of that. And then I was like, my God, this is not good now because everybody got in the party mode that we are going back. We are not shooting. So then one day I was like, okay, what do I do now? And then I called him at 5 a.m. in the morning, okay? And we had to go for a recce. And I said, okay, so listen, we have to just create this thought in our heads that it's not raining. And I said, it's not raining. I know it's not raining. And he said, but it's going to rain. It's going to rain. We are losing money. I said, no, I'm telling you, it's not raining. I just got to know it's not raining. That, like the next 5 days when we are shooting, it's not raining. And he's looking at me like, is she mad? Okay. I said, now today your job is to go and tell everybody it's just not going to rain. We have to go, we will have a completely dry weather and it's going to be fantastic. So he was not convinced, okay, but I was like, listen, like you're assisting me, so this is your job. You have no other job. So he went and told everybody it's not going to rain. Okay, he actually did that. And then in the next 2 days, everybody saying, oh, it's not going to rain. No, we have to shoot. So that entire energy became that we are going to shoot. It's not going to rain. And you
Mm.
won't believe it's crazy. It didn't rain for the 4 days we were shooting. It is so crazy. Okay. On the fifth day, it started raining. I
Wow.
I
Wow.
also was not sure what I was doing, but I was like, I definitely don't want this.
There's a very fine margin between gaslighting and manifesting, and I think this worked out.
I don't know how it worked, but I was very happy. I was like, oh my God. So and then some people came in, so they started coming and telling, oh, I said, so they were like, no, no, madam, it's not raining. You're right. It's not going to rain. It's not going to rain. It will be fine. I was like, oh, wow. Now people are coming and telling me this. That's like great.
That's
So
As
yeah.
Jayden said,
hilarious.
the power of manifesting, the power of getting the vision and then willing it into your existence. Well, that is so incredible. Honestly, we breathe through that. We breeze through the time that we've had you on the show. Rukshana, just want to say thank you so much for your beautiful work. Artist to artist, again, thank you. No matter what you're going through, whether it be painting, whether it be filmmaking, whether it be dancing, thank you for using that expression to share with the world, because sometimes it seems like you're going through your own clarity, but also you're using your gifts to affect other people, and in turn putting other people in positions to win, as you just said with this rainy story example, right? We need more of that. We always need more of that.
Great, lovely talking to you and just sharing this journey.
Very excited for your artistic journey.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Hope we get to work together, all of us.
Absolutely. Hey,
Yeah.
listen, we're
Give
only
me a
a
call.
plane ticket away, or vice versa. Inspiration needs
Absolutely.
no visa, but we got
Yeah.
ours ready.
100%. I'm getting there.
Exactly. All right. Well, you already know what it is. Again, welcome to another episode of Boarding Pass. I am your pilot, Denzel Whitaker, joined by...
Your co-pilot Jayden Choi, and we always say to you guys, inspiration needs no visa.
We're signing out. Peace.
Woo.
This podcast is made possible with assistance from entertainment and media lawyer Gordon Firemark, who helps film, television, podcast, and digital creators achieve the impact they deserve.
Boarding Pass is a production of IYMS Films, available wherever you listen to podcasts. We hope you enjoyed today's show, and if you did, please share, subscribe, like, and review. We definitely want to hear your feedback, and we always appreciate you tuning in. We'll see you next time.